We know that. We know you're here to stay. We don't want you to go anywhere. You're our countrymen. We love you. You're our brothers and sisters. We're saying, make your identity about something more, because we can't connect with you and there's always going to be this divide. Segregating yourself by choice isn't any better than being segregated by force. You're still segregated. You're away from us. We don't want you to be away from us. We want you to come into the fold. We want to be one people. We want to identify with you. We want to know who you are as a person, and we can't do that when you make your entire identity just about this one thing. Hey there, everybody. My dear Watson here. I just wanted to sit down real quick and make a quick video about gender fluidity and the whole non-binary movement.
Binary. The common misconception is that a non-binary person is neither a man nor a woman. But actually, a non-binary person is someone who is neither strictly a man nor a woman.
It's basically comes from the notion that I feel, therefore I am, which a lot of people find really controversial. So I'm talking about it from a conservative perspective, and somebody who doesn't really believe in identity politics.
Practice in private.
Alex is my friend. They like sports. I love playing video games with them. We went to high school together.
It may seem silly to you, but if unlearning a friend's former pronoun is tricky for you, practice makes perfect.
If somebody has to sit down and write in their dream journal or their diary and practice calling you what you want to be called, or if somebody is supposed to have that prerequisite conversation with you every time they communicate with you, because it's fluid, it's always moving, it's just depending on how you feel that day, then the whole point is you're asking way too much of people. People aren't going to do that.
Practice makes perfect.
If someone corrects you, recognize your mistake and apologize. Treat them with respect and ask them what they prefer to be called.
Seek out knowledge.
And this is just cut and dry, just the way things are. People don't care about you and your life that much. Yes, you have people in your life that love you and respect you or care for you, but in general, people in business, acquaintances, people you see at coffee shops, just people you bump into, they don't care about you that much. To have this whole long drawn out process where they have to figure out how not to offend you every time they talk to you. If you expect people to do that, if what you're saying in these videos is what you actually think people should do, you're gonna find that you have zero friends.
Doesn't make any sense. I am in this ambiguous center where I can waver between the two gender performative ideas. And I'm in this ambiguous center where gender really, to me, doesn't have any performance. I simply am.
It sounds to me like gender fluidity is just something that you kind of, close your eyes and put your finger down on every day. So why does the rest of America have to make such an effort to try to, hammer it down also, if you don't even know what it is? And it sounds like you'll be perfectly content just keeping it to yourself and expressing it to the people that it matters to in your life.
Address me as he or she, depends on my mood, so ask politely.
You can't require things from other people to make your life the way that you want it to be. And I really feel like people in this movement, and people on the left in general, need to ask themselves, am I asking them to do a lot more in this relationship than they're asking me to do?
Everybody else in the world out there can say, I am, and they identify themselves, and everybody believes them. But when I say I am, I don't know why people just don't believe it.
Out for attention. This is all about attention. If you look like a man and you want people to assume you're something else, you're just delusional. People don't see a guy sitting in the coffee shop, and if they're going to go up and ask him if he's done with the business section, you expect them to say, oh, hi, yes, sir, miss, sir. Zer, hi, can I use the business section? People aren't going to do that. People aren't going to do that. They're setting themselves up for disappointment. That's just the truth. They're expecting this unimaginable amount of effort from strangers, or putting themselves in positions to feel stress or shame or sadness if somebody doesn't believe in the ideals that they've already convinced themselves are absolutely true.
It definitely does help to wear baggier clothing to hide your curves. And then I generally never wear any makeup. But yeah, generally I just wear this type of shirt, and then for my pants, I'll wear sort of baggy pants just because it helps hide my curves and gives me a straighter line.
Everybody knows that. Everybody knows that if you want to look masculine and you're a woman, You probably don't want to wear a mini skirt. You probably don't want to wear makeup. You might want to bind your breasts. I mean, if you have to make tutorial videos to tell people this, then you just want attention.
New video for you, and it is a lookbook, but not any kind of lookbook. It is going to be a gender fluid lookbook.
Here's my masculine look number 2. Here's masculine look number 1. Here's female look number 1. Everybody knows that a suit jacket is masculine.
I like you a lot. I think you are a very nice guy. I really do. And I think this is very raw for you right now. And
oh, you think that too? You're a good guy. You are a good guy.
I do. I think this is very raw for you right now, and this has got to be overwhelming for you. I mean, this person that I love, which is still sitting here, looks a little different in the moment.
Everything that I see that's supposed to turn you into a woman, that's supposed to make you equal with me and my femininity, you get to buy from the beauty aisle at Walgreens. How is that fair? So yeah, I get frustrated. I get frustrated when you try to boil my womanhood and my femininity and all of my experiences I have as a female. You try to boil it down and say it's purchasable. What I find absolutely incredible is that you've got the left going nuts, going on and on and on about cultural appropriation, right? Cultural appropriation. Yeah, you're appropriating my entire gender, my entire sex. You have people appropriating who people are every single day, and yet you support them. How are they not appropriate? How is that not appropriation? You don't see these people going to crisis pregnancy centers or women's shelters or sitting down in support groups and listening to what domestic abuse victims have been through. You don't see these people volunteering in any way to actually get to know what it means to have the heart and soul of a woman, because they mistakenly think that they already have one. And you don't. You don't already have one, because you haven't been looked at and been treated as if you're a woman your entire life. Because he's not one. He doesn't know what it's like to be somebody's wife. He doesn't know what it's like to get asked out on a date. They don't know what it's like to have to cover the tomb when they're making out with a guy to make sure that he doesn't go too far. I'm getting so tired of hearing people say that you can purchase femininity on a shelf. And you know what? That goes for men too. You can't purchase masculinity on a shelf. You might be able to purchase some drugs. You might be able to try to change your physical appearance, but you don't have the heart and mind of that gender.
Here's what you need to know. Gender fluid, gender whatever. Here's what you need to know. You don't need to decide your gender.
The reason I say that non-binary is just another word for fashion is because, well, take a look at this guy.
When I was 18, my father and I had an interesting conversation. Legs. My dad said, "What's that? What are those? What'd you do to your legs?" And I said, "I shaved my legs."
Okay, so here you've got a man. You have a man with a beard who wears eyeshadow and nail polish. So this is supposed to signal to the rest of the world that he identifies more on the feminine side too. And here's the problem. Here's the problem with the gender non-binary thing. You just get video after video of these people talking about how rough their lives are, how hard it is. They have to come out. Oh my God, my dad made fun of me for shaving my legs. I'm sorry, this is just the truth, but if you look stupid, people are gonna laugh at you. If you sound stupid, people are gonna laugh at you. It doesn't matter if you make the world as PC as it's ever gonna get.
Skirts or shorts, that's just me. The way I dress is not my identity. Let me speak for myself.
You've got all these people who are all about identity and me and uniqueness, and look how different I am. You can't cage this. You can't put a label on this. They all seem to have blue hair and black-rimmed glasses, and you tell me why the self-identified most unique people in the country all look exactly the same. And they can't see that they're wearing a uniform. They are wearing the uniform of the left, and they think they are just covered in sparkles and stickers and rainbows. They're so different and special.
Told you I was a boy today and you looked at me like I was crazy. Told you I was a boy today and you looked at me like I was no more than sacks of flesh on my chest, like I was no more than the softness between my legs. I told you I was a boy today and you looked at me like I was crazy because you are so set in your concept of gender, that gender is sex and sex is gender and gender is sex and sex is gender and gender is no more than males have a penis and females have boobs and a vagina. I told you I was a boy today and you looked at me like I was crazy and it fucking hurt.
Okay, let me tell you something. If you're such a boy, then you should know that boys your age first of all, don't call themselves boys. Second of all, they don't sit there and they don't make confessionals where they cry and they sing songs and they write poetry about how mean you were to them today. So, no, that's wrong. What it sounds like here is that you are talking to your mom. I bet your mom loves you a lot. So when you say your mom looked at you like you were crazy, but that's how parents look at their kids when they say things that are crazy. It's not because your mom is a bigot or they're mean or they don't understand. It's the thing that you're saying as a youth. It sounds kind of stupid.
But then I told you I was a boy today and you looked at me like I was crazy and it hurt. It hurt worse than when I got my tattoo. It hurt worse than when my dog didn't make it.
It hurt worse than when I got my tattoo. First of all, it's physical pain. That makes absolutely no sense. That just shows your immaturity by trying to express how bad your emotional pain is by comparing it to a tattoo. That sounds like an immature, childish, teenager thing to say. You're comparing your emotional pain for being oppressed, and you compare it to how much pain you felt to when you got a tattoo and when your dog died. So pretty much every kid goes through that. A dog dying, that's kind of a prerequisite for life.
I have 81 followers, mostly strangers, and they send me messages that say, thanks for the reblog, but what's with all that feminist spam on your feed? I did not respond.
You were so pretty with your long hair.
Did you really need a queer haircut?
I did not respond.
My grandma.
Here's the reason people are saying stuff like that to you on the internet. It's not because people are just mean and they're so hateful and they just want to judge you. It's because a lot of times people you're friends with on social media actually know you in real life. And it's statistically that people who dress like you do, the whole blue hair, the craziness, the nutty contacts, all the insanity, it's going to make it hard for you to get or keep a job. It's going to bring negative attention to you in public. It's going to cause more prejudice against you than you would have experienced otherwise. It's going to make it harder for you to fall in love or find long-term partnerships. The stress from the unsolicited attention that you're going to get for the rest of your life is going to absolutely debilitate you at times. This whole look that you've got going on, the whole thing, it's like a really bad tattoo, only it follows you the rest of your life and you cannot remove it. People will never forget the fact that you were a social justice warrior. Even if you change your mind later in life, you meet somebody, you fall in love, you decide you want to have a family, and you don't want your kids to look at you like you're a psychopath, guess what? People will never in your life forget the fact that you were a social justice warrior. You're putting yourself in a position where the only people that are gonna be friends with you are people that share those views. So you're literally cutting yourself off from your own potential opinions because people have their minds changed all the time. People hear great arguments every day and it completely changes their opinion about things. You've now dedicated yourself to a movement that absolutely will not hear other opinions, and you've cut yourself off from access to information that you could have utilized to sound like an intelligent person.
Found out about gender non-specific pronouns Z and here, and I thought that was funny. That makes people trip up, because really technically I'm not a she. I'm not a he.
The reason people aren't using your pronouns and the reason people seem to not be catching on to the whole movement, you have people in your life that you may love and they may love you and they may, generally care about your well-being and they may care about your opinions and your views, but general people, the people that you're asking to identify you properly and to have these conversations and to sleuth out like a detective, who you are as a person so that I can talk to you properly without offending you, they don't care about you. They don't care about your identity. They don't care about your experience. They don't care about it. They have their own problems in their own lives. And quite honestly, we also don't like hearing about your sex life. You don't hear straight people running around talking about how they got a good dicking last night. Like, it makes people awkward and uncomfortable. They don't like it. And just because you belong to a special class of people or you belong to a certain identity group, that rule doesn't go away. Another really good reason why a lot of straight people get so frustrated, and it's not because they think that it's wrong to be gay. And you'll find a lot of Republicans, a lot. In fact, I think most millennial Republicans, they don't care. They don't think that you shouldn't be able to be gay or have rights or anything like that. It's just annoying when somebody or a group of people make their entire identity about who they like to have sex with. For straight people, sex is just an aspect of life. It's just one small aspect. You don't talk about it in public. It's personal. It has nothing to do with anybody else. It's just between you and the other person. For the gay community, it seems to define their entire existence. So now people are being cut off from knowing anything else about you because the only thing that you seem to want to portray about who you are as a person is who you like to have sex with. And it makes people uncomfortable because, and I know there's a lot of other things that go into it, like who your friends are or how people treat you in society or what opportunities you can have. But in today's day and age, I really don't feel like it makes you cool nowadays. Gay people are the cool people in culture now, so you can't really say that you're demonized that much just because you can still remember a time where Christians were out there picketing gay people, and it's the same thing with most minority groups, whether it's Black Lives Matter or you're making your entire identity and who you are as a person about one thing, which makes it impossible for other people to relate to you as a human being because they don't know anything else about you though to share. We know you're here to stay. We don't want you to go anywhere. You're our countrymen. We love you. You're our brothers and sisters. We're saying, make your identity about something more. We can't connect with you, and there's always going to be this divide. If you want to build a moat around you and your people, and you want to be secluded, if you want to be segregated, then you have to understand that that's not what America's about anymore. Segregating yourself by choice isn't any better than being segregated by force. You're still segregated. You're away from us. We don't want you to be away from us. We want you to come into the fold. We want to be one people. We want to identify with you. We want to know who you are as a person, and we can't do that when you make your entire identity just about this one thing. My pronouns are she, her, they, them, and I identify as gray gender. This girl cracks me up because they're all about not being cisgendered. Yeah, every woman has she, her, and they, them pronouns. So, I mean, to me, this is just crazy. It's just asking for attention. You're asking for attention. You're asking for something that already exists. Those are already your pronouns. So now you're just trying to make a federal case out of nothing.
Number 9. Gender norm destruction.
I mean, this is just crazy. You cannot get offended and mad at people if they laugh at you because you look like a tiny little, you look like Lucy Liu, and then you open your mouth and Thanos comes out. People are going to laugh at you. I'm sorry.
And I'm very tired of cisnormative and heteronormative crap. I'm truly tired of it.
Guess what? The majority of people are heterosexuals, so you're never gonna get away from it. And if you're really in a position, if you really feel like you're just so tired of heteronormative cis people, then maybe you're the one who's being judgmental. Because I doubt that every cis-normative, heteronormative person out there is trying to make your life a living hell. The thing is that you're out there trying to make yourself a priority when people prioritize themselves in their own lives.
And I just want to kind of like talk to you about my experience. And that is, so some people might not know, I identify as gender fluid. Now what this means basically is my gender doesn't sit in one place all the time. So sometimes I feel more male, sometimes I identify more female, sometimes I identify more sort of like genderqueer, non-binary, like in this middle, and I float between these genders.
No gender has purple eyes. Your eye color and piercings all over your face don't make you any gender. It just makes you a guy who wants attention. And you want attention. You have purple eyes. People who have purple eyes generally want attention. You have a zillion holes in your face. That's generally done because people want attention. They're not practical. It's not like you hang your laundry on them to dry. So, attention, attention, and then you've got this gender crap, which is just more attention. This actually gets your purple eyes and holy face onto the internet to where you can get even more attention. So how am I supposed to take these people seriously? Well, please, someone please explain this to me. It's based on no science, you have nothing to back it up, it's constantly changing, and you've got these absolute insane words.
It can include people who are agender, gender fluid, gender flux, gender queer, androgen, nutoi, demigirl, demiboy, and so on. And because gender is such a personal thing, everyone experiences it differently. So someone might feel that they're more of a man on one day, but then more agender on another day. And they could be both a man and non-binary. Because gender is a spectrum, and you don't have to identify on that spectrum, or even stay in the same place on that spectrum all the time. For me, I feel like I'm far enough to the girl side of the spectrum to consider myself a girl, but I also feel kind of gender neutral. It's like my gender just floats around that general side of the
Abimagender, a gender which is profound, deep, and infinite. What does that mean? Oh, this is my favorite. Adamus gender, a gender which refuses to be categorized. So let's give it a category. It's just astounding. It's like someone is writing this while they're high on meth. Adeptogender, when your gender identity was attained through your realization of your kin self, as in your kin realization spurred your gender realization. Aether gender, a gender that feels very wide, commanding, breathtaking, and powerful. These aren't genders, guys. These are just personality types with appropriate fashion options attached, I guess. Will someone please explain to me why it is that gender, according to these people, is just a social construct, and yet they're all desperately trying so hard to figure out which one they are, or to present as a man or a woman or some weird Picasso of both. If it's just a social construct, then why are you trying to look like one of them at all? Just wear a smock and shave your head if there's no genders. I mean, why are you trying to present as anything? Anyway, I'm sorry, it's just I'm getting really tired of people coming up with bullshit fiction and then trying to tell me that I'm hateful for not subscribing to it. So if you're out there and you feel the way that I feel at all, you're not alone. These people tried to do the same thing to someone in my family. They tried to convince someone in my family that's extremely impressionable and was severely abused as a child that he was just in the wrong body, and that if he changed his gender, all of his problems would go away. It's heartbreaking to have somebody sitting across from you that you love so much telling you through tears they don't know who they are, that they've been told that if they switched genders that would just make everything go away, it would make everything make sense for them, and not taking into account this person's history and the fact that they were abused as a child. You need to really talk to your kids about this, because the problem is that I worry about peer pressure with this, because these kids are being told so definitively that if they feel awkward or different or weird, which is how most teenagers and kids feel, that it can all be fixed with a simple switch. And the problem is that our entire society has become obsessed about who you are as a person and not on what can you do for other people. It's not so much about who you are because you die, it's about what good you can do for others in the world. If they put even an ounce of that effort into trying to make the world better for other people, and trying to serve others instead of trying to obsess over who they themselves are, then this world will be in a lot better shape. So, if you are out there, if you think of yourself as gender fluid, non-binary, trans, whatever it is, know that I don't hate you. I think that there's a lot of lies that are being braided in with the truth, and I worry for you. And I don't want you to get duped. I don't want you to end up spending a portion of your life subscribing to something that you just have to undo later. Thanks guys, I really appreciate it, and I hope you guys have a nice day. And I'll see you in the next video. Thanks.